people can also experience this awesome little workshop we have with Louie. So we'll go ahead and do if we could do brief introductions, and this is just our name, our pronouns, and also who we are in DACU. So I'll go ahead and go first. So my name is Samantha. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the time bank coordinator here at DACU. And then we'll just go around based on what's on my screen. So we'll all start with Austin.
Someone. No.
Austin, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Okay. Drawing.
Yeah, we're gonna do drawing today. And Austin, is it okay if I refer to you as he, him, or his? Like if you left your jacket in the other room, I'd say it's his jacket.
Yeah.
Great. And you're also part of Beloved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming, Austin. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. And I'll go ahead and move on to Carl. Hi, Carl.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Great.
All right. See ya.
Do you have your sketchbook? Okay.
And Carl, can you go ahead and tell us your pronouns? And
He is him.
okay, sorry, I'm not sure if you had already said it. I might have cut out. And then you're also a time bank member, right, Carl?
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. And I'll go ahead and go down to Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert. I go by he, him, or his. And I've been a supporter for since the beginning of time. I'm a documentarian also.
Yes, that's very true. Thank you, Robert. And then I'm going to say Louie's next on my screen, but I'm going to save you for last, Louie.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and move it on over to Mikhail.
Hi, I'm Mikhail. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and I am a time bank member and I serve on the steering committee.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming, Mikhail. And then we'll go ahead and move on over to Erin.
Hello. My preferred pronouns are she, her, hers. I don't really work anywhere. I mean, I do go to school, but you know, I have a dog and my cat is over there somewhere. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for coming, Erin, and thanks for coming again. You were here last week for your first time, so we love seeing you here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and move on over to Jessie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessie. My pronouns are she, her, hers. The New Mexico Health Equity Partnership and also a member of Cruces Contigo.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessie. Thanks for coming. And Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth. I'm part of Beloved Community and I work as their Vista, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
Thanks for coming, Beth. And then we also have Susana.
Hi, I'm Susana, and I work for New Mexico Commission for Deaf and Hard of Hearing, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
Great. Thanks for coming, Susana, and soon to be time bank member.
Oh.
Great. Okay. So last but not least, we have Louie.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Louie. My preferred pronouns are he, him, his, and I am also a Vista at Doña Ana Communities United. I am the social equity mapper or social equity coordinator, and mapping is what we do with social equity.
Great. And then I just wanted to say that Carrie really wanted to be here today, but it was a huge day for her sister. Her sister is defending her thesis for I think it's her master's or doctorate program, but either way, it's a big day for her family. So she says hi to everyone. So I think we can go ahead and get started. Louie, you want to go ahead and take it away?
Excellent. Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Sam, for introductions. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited. I'm so glad to be able to, once again, teach this medium. I did teach this back in 2003, I believe. And it was with AmeriCorps as well, but I was teaching them to first and second graders at MacArthur Elementary. We did a lot of projects with cartooning, but we started off with the basics. We started off with the very simple design, and we built up to the point where we made a giant comic book, and essentially it was two blank doors that were hinged together, and each side had a panel, and so that had a front cover, had a back cover, and the inside was the story of this comic book. And they used this as a divider all throughout the school, which is a really, really, really awesome project. And eventually, I would like to create something like that with us here, but that's a whole different program. So I want to apologize before we get started, because my tablet is directly underneath me, so you're going to see the top of my head a lot. Okay, so first thing on the agenda is makes you things that make you go ah, or cartoons that make you go ah. I think everybody has one cartoon in mind that they used to sit in front of the television with a bowl of sugary cereal and just be excited because your favorite cartoon was about to come on. For me, it was Bugs Bunny and the Warner Brother cartoons with Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. And that was every time I see those cartoons, I get these flavor flashbacks of Lucky Charms. I don't know how if that works for you, but essentially cartoons have always been a very integral part of the arts. It's always been a very how can I say, it goes very closely with all the other different art forms that we are used to seeing. You would think, well, I don't see cartoons in art galleries. I don't see cartoons in all these fine arts places. Well, that's because the cartoons have veered off into its own genre. It's veered off into its own, basically into its own industry. And so that brings me to the second part of the agenda. And I know it sounds like I'm flying through the agenda, but I want to leave the most space for the activity, which I'm pretty sure everybody is itching to get to. And we'll get to it. So back in the day, one of the first cartoons, which by the way, the word cartoon comes from the word Italian word cartone, which means carton. And so everything that started off with a art piece started off as a preliminary drawing or a sketch. And so cartoon would come from these, because everybody would draw just quick sketch their drawings on a piece of cardboard or on a carton, right, as they call it. And from there it would get transferred onto a canvas, and the art piece was done that way. And so artists were getting more and more relaxed about leaving their artwork on this piece of cardboard, and the drawings started becoming less and less intricate, and therefore creating cartoons. So the cartoon then developed and became part of the whole film industry. And the first time that this illustration started happening on a live screen, people were scared. People didn't receive it very well. Matter of fact, the artist received threats of getting persecuted because they consider him a witch. Because he was moving pictures, he was making drawings move, and that was something very unnatural at the time. And so if you look at your screen, I have a short video here of humorous phases of funny faces. And we'll just watch this really quick. And we're going to see this, and we're going to be, we're going to say, well, it's not the greatest of quality. It's not but then again, you have to remember, this is one of the first. So simple lines are representing a gentleman. And the hand that's erasing that is Blackton, J. Stuart Blackton. This animation is still popular today. This style of animation where they have cutout pieces and moving around. And that is one of the first animations, and basically they in the cartooning world, Stuart Blackton is considered one of the forefathers of cartooning. So now that we have and there's so much history behind it because we have MC Fleischer, or not MC Fleischer, I'm sorry, Max Fleischer, and Dave Fleischer, and we also have Walt Disney. Of course, everybody knows Walt Disney, and a bunch of other animators that have made cartoons popular and famous, and so much history behind it, and the stories that are that go with it is, I mean, just absolutely amazing. Just one tidbit, actually. Did you all know that Disney was about to go under when they were making Bambi? They could not, for whatever reason, could not find the voice for Thumper. And one night, actually the week of the closing of Disney, Walt Disney essentially closed the warehouse and started walking down the street and heard the voice of his little boy, calling out to his mama out in the street. And he said, that's it. That's the voice I need for this rabbit. And that little boy's voice is now what we know as Thumper from Bambi. So that little boy essentially saved Walt Disney. So, and that's just one tidbit of the history of cartoons. It's absolutely fascinating. When everybody gets a chance, just go to YouTube, look at history of cartooning. You'll spend hours. You'll spend hours for sure. So, okay, now it is 2:20. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. So everybody has some sketch paper, some scrap paper, a sketchbook, pencil, paper, pen, piece of charcoal. Hopefully not charcoal. Charcoal is pretty messy. Okay, so the first thing that we need to figure out, or the first thing that it works that essentially makes the cartoons are the basic shapes. Okay, so we're talking about circles, triangles, squares. Very rudimentary, very basic, very absolute beginning. But what makes it a cartoon is how you place and how you put things together to make this into a character. Okay, so let's say, for example, matter of fact, let's start off with something simple, just like the eye placement. Okay, so if we have 3 circles, okay, and we look at 3 different eye levels, okay, this being the top, middle, and lower. So if we put the eyes up the top, it calls for a pretty cute tomato, if you want to call it. If we go for the middle, then we go for something even cuter. But then if we put the eyes at the bottom, we go for absolute cuteness. And a lot has to do with the size of the eyes as well. So if we do tiny itty bitty eyes for this first one, it kind of represents and shows that this character isn't very witty, isn't very smart, and many a times itty bitty eyes kind of represent that that this character is most likely like expendable, isn't, you know, one of the main characters. Not all the time, but most of the time. Now, if we were to take this cute one here, okay, let's say we'll call it the cutest, right? Is that how you spell it? C-U-T-S-T? Okay. Thank you, San. San's nodding. I'm like, okay, good. Whew. If we raise those eyes and we add bigger eyes, but still at the lower level, then we get something that looks kind of bug-eyed, but there has been an industry created on this formula right here. I'm going to erase it. I'm going to draw it out and see if you all can tell me what. I believe Hallmark used to sell these a lot. And it was the Precious Moments dolls. Do we all remember the Precious Moments? Yeah, that was their formula of putting the eyes towards the bottom of the head, and it makes the character look absolutely cuter. Typically for this one here, for the cute one, I've seen this used a lot to create monsters. So for example, give it a smile, gives us a teeth, a little bit of a lip. Oops. We'll add the stem. And we'll call this guy Tomato. Okay, same basic shape, just different eye placement. Now this middle one, we can go all over the place. It's very, very, very versatile in how you want to use it. If we draw a straight line above it, then that character doesn't look very happy at all. All right? We draw another straight line with two squares above it. Then we look at this very like somebody that's really grumpy. And if we add little scribbles at the top, perhaps a cloud, lightning bolt, Everyone, that's this is what we call Monday. I'm pretty sure everybody has has been there at one point. So we use the circle to do the different placements of the eyes. Let's go ahead and try using a triangle. So if we draw 3 triangles. So if this is something you would like to pursue and say, I want to draw cartoons a little bit more, it is always a good idea to draw 3 versions of one basic shape and then mess around with however you want to get this done. So let's start off with the placement of the eyes at the top, the middle, and at the bottom. And I don't know, what do we see for this first one? Giving him a smile. Give him some feet. If we draw a couple of half moons. Add a bit of dimension. Mr. Cheese. This middle one, let's give an exaggerated smile. Lots of teeth. This time we'll put the arms out this way. Now for feet, when I draw feet, I usually like drawing the leg first and then drawing an oval, but I never draw the oval right below it, right in the middle. That only works if you're going to draw the other foot facing in another direction. And I'll show you how in a bit. So one would draw off to the side. So notice if it's not in the middle, draw it to the side. But when you draw the other one, you could draw that one in the middle. If you notice, if it makes it look like the feet is one facing the camera and the other one's facing to the side. So we can do that here too. How many have a hard time drawing hands? I still have a hard time drawing hands. What I've done for hands, and I'm going to zoom in a bit here, is that I'll start off with the circle. 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 4 fingers. Usually cartoons only have 3. That's on my browser. And we can call this character Dorito. So when we're cartooning, it's always important also to have a name for your character, because it's only after you put your name on a character that you can actually start visualizing a story, start visualizing different factors about your character. There's so many things that spawn when you add a name. So, for example, Mr. Cheese. We know that Mr. Cheese lives in the refrigerator. And who's the neighbor? You know, the eggs. And what do? They're plotting against Mr. Cheese because he's smelling kind of funny. You know, so already we begin a story just based on the name of your character. Dorito. You know, he's the loud, crunchy type. Not too bright, but you know, super fun to have with, and but only for a moment. And if you have too much of Mr. Dorito, it could be unhealthy for you. Unhealthy relationship. And then for this last one, which I like to call cutest, we can go ahead and keep the eyes down below. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the legs and the feet all underneath. Not on top. We have the, if we notice, we have the arms. Oh, that's huge. Sorry. We have the arms at the top of the body. This time we're going to put them all underneath. So we're just going to add small arms, and then the legs are going to be a little bit longer. And this character can be multiple things. It could be multiple, whatever this character could be. What the only thing that's coming to mind right now is safety cone. What we could do is open the top like so. I don't have an eraser. Believe it or not, as advanced as this tablet is, it doesn't give me any, well, it does, I guess. But it erases everything. So there you go. We have 3 more characters, all just with just a triangle. Now, we created 3 characters that one shape is both head and body. And most of the times these characters are very, very cute. But what about cartoon characters that are more lifelike, that have an actual body, that actually have a head, you know, a torso? So this is where basic shapes, combinations of basic shapes kick in. So let's go ahead and give the cutest guy here. Let's give him a body. So we're going to start off with the circle. As you can tell, my circles are shaky for whatever reason. There we go. And then underneath the circle, instead of drawing a square up top like this, let's go ahead and save ourselves some lead and some ink and draw it underneath like so. Okay, from there we're going to add the feet. And again, instead of drawing, you know, the half or the ovals like that, just like that. Okay, now we're going to, at this intersection right here, starting from this intersection, we're going to draw a small line going out and then ending like so. From there, we're going to draw a piece of his arm going into his body like so. And of course, since his hands are in pockets, our pockets don't necessarily go into our body. They just go into sides of fabric that are in our, in our garment. So we have his hands in his pocket. Now, the torso, to draw the torso is actually pretty easy for this character. All we have to draw is right here at the where the arms end. That would be his shirt line. And for this, for each leg of the pant is down the middle and over across like a letter T. So now we have a character that has an actual torso, has legs, has feet, has arms, has legs. Now it's up to you what kind of face you want to put on this character. Okay. I am going to, let's see. I'm going to put him kind of in the middle, but not so in the middle. Draw a smiley face, the letter C for a nose, a backward C if you want to call it that. Little bumps on the side of the head. Usually the ears, I like to put at the same, kind of like the same, almost at the same level of the eyes, either at the top or at the bottom. And I just erased his head. There we go. And I am going to give this character curly hair. Looks like my aunts and uncles when they were kids. And the name is Pepito. The reason I call him Pepito is because it looks like my, it wasn't my intention, but he looks like my dad when he was a kid. And I don't know if you all know, but Jose Luis which is my full name. Nickname for Jose Luis is Pepe. So if you want to make it smaller and cuter, call it Pepito. And that is my my little character representation of my father. I didn't mean to, but it clicked. All right, so I just gave you all just a massive wave of information and artwork and techniques and styles. I'd like to hear from all of you. What is it about cartooning that attracts you the most?
Like right now?
Sure, like right now. Sure. These classes, these lessons are always better when I get interaction from everybody else. When everybody's muted, I feel like I'm talking to myself, kind of weird.
Well, you pointed that out a lot, but I think that's one of the coolest parts.
I'm sorry, my microphone or my headphones broke out real quick. Could you repeat that one more time, please?
I'm sorry, maybe I'm not close enough. I just think cartoons are really cute. I think that's a big draw.
Definitely, and it. Believe it or not, but this can be very useful for anything that you do. If you were to write a letter, or if you were to, we can draw this character here. And let's go ahead and put this on there like so. You could write on there something like it makes a cartoon actually bring your words to life. So if again, just like anything, practice makes perfect. Find one cartoon that you like, one style that you like, and just draw it over and over and over and over and over, and you will master it. And next thing you know, the person next to you is going to say, "You draw that really well. Are you like an artist?" And at that point, you will be. And thank you very much, Beth. Thank you for your input. Anybody else?
Well, I like the way you broke everything down to little elements, which made it a lot simpler to create these characters now.
Right. It's always best to understand anything really, especially cartooning, when you break it down to its core, when you break it down to its finest of details. And again, this is just like the very beginning, the very first stepping stone of cartoon, because it gets up there.
It's a very good way of depicting or illustrating something quickly.
Correct. And I don't know if you all have seen the what do you call it? The graphic recording we did for our team meeting yesterday. We have the link on our Facebook page for the YouTube video. It's only a 5-minute video. It's not very long, but essentially it's a speed or what do you call it? The time lapse for the graphic recording. And so that's also another tool, another reason we want to practice drawing cartoons, because graphic recording is that's becoming very valuable nowadays. So for example, it could be in one of the booklets that I was reading, when you do graphic recording, you can't really spend, like we spend a pretty good amount of time drawing this, and by that time the subject has already changed. So that's why when we do graphic recording, we have to do something fast, but it also you can represent something. So for example, yesterday I drew this one, which was a team meeting. And all it is the basically the heads, the bodies all joining together to become one. Arms coming up together, the legs for the table, and then just zigzags at the bottom to kind of represent legs. And that's I made it a quick cartoon to show that it's, you know, a group of people. But what makes it even more special is the highlights or everything else that we add to it that makes it really pop. So don't forget, whenever we create cartoons, we want to add some action to it. Matter of fact, this is a good example. Instead of just a grumpy face, we can tell he's having a bad day. He's just not happy.
I also like how cartoons just add so much more power to words.
Absolutely. I'm a very hard person to, how can I put it this? I'm not gonna say this correctly. I don't cry in movies. I'll just put it that way. Some really emotional parts in movies come out, you know, and I won't. You know, I'm like, wow, that's really sad. You know, and you know, the rest of my family are like, how are you not crying? This is so heartwarming, or this is so touching, or this is, you know, so devastating. Why aren't you crying? I'm like, I don't know. However, one movie that did make me actually cry was an animated film. It was a cartoon, and that cartoon is an anime, which is a Japanese cartoon, and it was depicting life after World War II. If you all feel like tugging at your feels, if you all feel like getting some emotions running and really learning something about history, look up the movie Grave of the Fireflies. I believe Hulu just added it not too long ago. So
was that Grave or Brave with a B?
Grave of the Fireflies.
With a G?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see now.
And oh boy, yeah, it was such a hard movie to watch. But again, it was cartoons and the way it was depicted. It was just ink, paint, and cellophane or whatever material they're using, and it was one after another, repeating, making a moving picture. But it was the emotion they added to it, the action they added to it that made me really feel, well, really depressed actually. That movie made, and even then I think about it and I start getting this overwhelming feeling of sadness. But that's what it is. Anybody else has an experience with cartoons that has impacted their life in a way?
I love the Linda Berry books, and I really like her. I'm really inspired to try to journal like she does. to do, so if anybody has read her books, she does these, you can get her books and, but it's kind of like, you know, taking notes with cartoons. And so, and I always just hesitate because I think I can't draw. But so this has been really good for me, just doing this little part. So thank you very much, Louie.
You're absolutely welcome. And let me uncover something for you all. Everybody can draw. Everybody can draw. If you can just draw stick figures, then you could draw. I have seen, matter of fact, there is one person, I keep forgetting his name. He now creates, well, he used to create artwork or commercials for Pop-Tarts. And it was just little black and white figures. Matter of fact, I could probably draw some of his figures. They looked something like a bean for the body, big smiling head, and like little knobs for, and this was like, I kid you not, this was his way of cartooning. And he would go to all these big brand names and say, I want, you know, to sell my drawings to you. And he was just rejected so much because they're like, how are you trying to sell me this? And finally he landed over at Pop-Tarts, and just some of the most hilarious, just the most funniest cartoons I've seen were his from the Pop-Tart commercials. So again, if stick figures you can draw, then you can definitely draw. Matter of fact, I'll show you something really quick. Just drawing with stick figures.
Mm-hmm.
Forward motion, but with the body going forward. Same running, but facing backwards. And what I like to call this is cops and robbers. And this is all done with stick figures. So do not limit yourself. One experience I had at the Court Youth Center when I was AmeriCorps there was we had this event called Field Trips. And the field trips was inside the gymnasium, and they would have tables all the way around. Each table was an art station. And my art station just happened to be exactly this, cartooning. And so all the kids wanted to come to the cart. They wanted, you know how to draw Goofy? You know how to draw Pikachu? You know how to draw? And we would sit down and we would like take these characters apart and see how they were using the basic shapes and things of that nature. And we would have a blast. But what really impacted me at that time is that when they had the assembly and they lined up all the grades, because it was grades 1 through 5, Central Elementary, I believe, they asked every single grade who was an artist. And so first grade and second grade, when they asked them, everybody raised their hands. When they asked the third grade, some of them did, some of them didn't. By the time they reached 5th grade, nobody raised their hands. Nobody considered themselves as an artist. So I can't really pinpoint why that would be, if it's the system of education, if it's something at home, I don't know, there could be multiple factors. But one thing I always told my students is that you can draw. You are an artist. You can make things happen. Maybe you can't draw like a Picasso, or maybe you can't draw like max flesh or make animations like that. That's fine. That's what they do. Focus on what you can do. And so this is ultimately cartooning is just exactly that. It's that freedom to give yourself to express through drawing. And again, it doesn't have to be super fancy. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. Matter of fact, I follow some people on Instagram that are artists, and they draw. They draw very, very. Matter of fact, one of the funniest cartoons that I like to follow on Instagram, I kid you not, the character looks like this. And this person animates this character in such a hilarious way that we forget that it doesn't have a recognizable shape. But because of the character they added to it and because of the feel they added to it, it's just absolutely amazing. And that's what I love about cartooning. There is no set in stone formula for cartooning. And so with that, we have 3 minutes left. Is there anything else anybody would like to share about cartooning before we end our session?
I still want you to take a look at what I've been doing for that children's book. So you can give me some pointers, because I think I'm figuring out what I'm doing wrong. I think I'm trying to be detailed when it needs to be simple. I have to choose which way to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can. We'll read through a couple of pages and start off with this. Start off with the simple, basic shapes, and then go from there.
Louie, I just wanted to congratulate you on your outstanding art. I mean, wow, mine came out not as great as yours, but for the first time. But I was thinking, how art is also so effective for people with hearing loss, how it's very visual. So you can just make a drawing real fast and say, this is what I need or something. That's cool. Thank you.
Great. I'm glad. Yes. This is exactly what's beautiful about cartooning. It's just another way of communicating your message. For anybody that's, I guess anybody that's visually impaired might have a little difficulty with this as well. But yeah, somebody that's hearing impaired, cartoon will go straight for it. Yeah. Okay, excellent. We have 2 minutes left.
Louie, can you name some of the Instagram accounts you follow?
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can.
Or maybe you can send it to us.
Yes, I will do that. I'll send some of the Instagram accounts that I have that have those cartoons, and that way you can entertain yourselves for a little bit more.
Could people show what they drew?
Certainly, if we can get everyone to take a picture of what they drew and send it to us, that would be great. Actually, let me stop sharing my screen, and then maybe we can hold up our drawings and I'll take a snapshot. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
All right, just give me a quick second here. Stop the share. Lock my screen. Okay, so if we can hold up our drawings to the screen, and I'll let you know when I've taken a picture. Okay, here it goes in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Let me see. Let me just double check and make sure I did take it. Okay, pasting the image.
Nice, Austin. Looks good, Beth.
Yeah,
That
I
was
like yours.
fun. Let me see yours. Let me see yours, Erin. Oh, I like it.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, I like your, tell me the ponytail on the one.
Yeah, I did a
Yeah.
ponytail because we didn't have any girls.
That's so cool.
Just paste that in there. Okay, yes, I did get it. Great.
Awesome, everyone. So, Louie, is there any last words for cartooning?
I would like to do more of this, but I would like to also get feedback from everyone. So if you all want to see another or have another cartoon sesh, just shoot us a message on Facebook, send us an email, and
That was
we
really
will.
fun.
We can go ahead and continue on, maybe learn a little bit more of the history, and do some more doodling.
Yeah, that was really fun, Louie.
That was
Thank you so
fun.
much.
Thank you so much, Louie. And by
You're
the
welcome.
way, he did this very last minute too. So can you imagine if he has like even more time to plan? Like, it's very gracious.
I tell Carrie and Sam that I have cartoons running in my mind all the time. So if I'm in meetings and I look distracted, that's probably what's happening. So.
Well, thank you all for coming today. Next week, we actually have active yoga. So it's not going to be like yin yoga if you've been to my classes. So it's going to be a little bit more active, but it is good for anyone. All bodies are welcome. And it's with Colleen from Downtown Desert Yoga. She's really good, very experienced. I've worked with her. And I've let her know that we have all spectrums of bodies and ages, and she is completely aware. So everyone is welcome. And again, that's going to be next week, next Friday at 2 o'clock right on here. We always have coffee hour every Wednesday. I know we had merged it with our team meeting this week, but we're right back on schedule next week. Coffee hour every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And also Cruces Contigo needs partners still. So I think everyone on here is pretty much one. But if you are not, definitely reach out to Adalis and at Daku Adalis. At gmail.com. Am I missing anything else, Louie, Adalis, and Carrie?
I don't think so.
As far as events, I think that's it.
Time bank orientation coming up. If you know of anybody who's not a member, what's the date on that, Sam?
Yeah, so it's June 9th. And if you are not a Time Bank member or if you know an organization, we want lots of organizations in our Time Bank at this time, just so it's another pool of resources. So we would love that. If you belong to an organization, definitely refer to us, please. And again, if you're just an individual, we can do that too. You can be a Time Bank member from that also. And I think that's it. Thank you all for coming as always, and we'll end like we always do with a word. Oh, go ahead, Beth.
I forgot. I just thought of it. So Kay's having her birthday party on Monday. Everyone's invited. She's not on here. I'm doing a secret video surprise for her. So you can message me if you want details on that. But I need them by Sunday. Crunch time. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out real quick. Everyone's invited. It's on Facebook and it's Monday at 5:30.
Great. And Kay is she's on the DACU steering committee. She's the founder, right, of Beloved Community. And yeah, she is a very active member of DACU. We love Kay here. So yeah, if you want to be a part of that, that would be great. Thanks for bringing that up, Beth. We would love to give her a surprise. And we'll go ahead and pick a word and end on that. Does anyone have a suggestion for a word today?
Cartoon sounds appropriate.
Very literal.
just
I
about
love
to
it.
say that.
Let's keep it simple. It's Friday. We don't want to think anymore. Great. So,
Your tune.
and I'll go ahead and count down from 3, 2, 1. Cartoon. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.